Good morning, friends. This is Pastor Lorri from First UMC in Kirksville, and it's good to gather with you together today. I have been thinking this week about all the stories we read in the Bible about Jesus traveling around with the disciples, and we hear about them, traveling up mountainsides and walking on foot from one place to the other and taking boats across lakes and seas. And sometimes it may feel when we read those that all of those were very intentional ventures, that those were like pilgrimages that they set out on. And as I was getting ready to get in the car this morning with my list of errands to do, it made me realize that, for that place and that time, so much of the ways that Jesus was interacting with people were simply in the course of the daily life, of getting from one place to the other. We hear about, they hop into a boat and they go across the sea. And yeah, that's maybe a little bit like us hopping in the car and driving down to Colombia. It was part of daily life in a way that we might not always think. And so I started to think about some of these ways that Jesus interacted with the disciples. What if those were unfolding in this time and in this place, right? We heard the disciples were at their jobs and Jesus comes up and says, "Drop your nets and come follow me." And I just got this image of Jesus driving up in an SUV, rolling down the window and saying, as we're out working in the yard or whatever it is, "Hey, come on, come follow me." What would those conversations have looked like if instead of walking on foot down a road, if they were happening in the middle of a vehicle as we're driving from one place to the other? Because so much of life unfolds in the day-to-day of everyday life, right? And I wonder if sometimes we miss that aspect of Jesus with the disciples, is he is in the middle of a daily walk of life. The people who are coming alongside to join them are in the middle of their daily lives as well. Now, I would guess there is something going on that has people ready for a change. Now, sometimes that's a change of season. We can kind of feel it in the air here. Back to school shopping is going on. The Truman students are about to arrive back in town. There's sometimes a change in the air that you kind of feel, even if you yourself are not involved in school year rhythms anymore. And I would guess that when the disciples were first called, I would guess there was something in their life that was getting them ready for a change, even if they couldn't put a finger on what it was or how it was. I'm going to guess that there was something in them that had them ready to say yes when Jesus called. Because, yes, it was Jesus, but also there were plenty of folks who weren't ready for that. There's a story of the rich young ruler who would have had to leave his wealth behind to give it away, and he wasn't ready to do that. That was too much for him to do. So I'm thinking about that readiness in our own lives as well. The times where we might not have any idea why we sense something isn't quite working in the way it did anymore. We're getting ready for some kind of change, even if we don't know what that kind of change is yet. That can be an uncomfortable place to be, right? Sometimes it feels like something's going to give. Other times we get that sense that, there's just something about our current patterns and routines that doesn't quite fit as comfortably as it used to. Sometimes I liken that to it feeling like a pair of jeans that maybe has been through the dryer one too many times. It just fits a little too snugly. And that can happen at any stage of our life. We don't have to be at any particular age or stage. There are times throughout life that get us ready for some kind of change happening ahead. And I think Jesus had a gift of meeting people in those times and places where they were looking for something. They might not have had any idea what, but Jesus saw them He had a way of honing in on what it was that they needed most. And being able to offer not the simple answers, because often what he offered was not simple at all. But he had a way of connecting with their greatest need. That might have been the place in life that truly needed change, and inviting them into whatever it was that was needed. And I ran across today a blessing for when change is around the corner. Now, sometimes that happens when some kind of new year is coming up. And again, sometimes it happens out of the blue. But this is written by Kate Bowler. And I want to leave it with us today, just in case any of you are at one of those stages where you know that something related to change is around the corner. God, I carry around an incompleteness. Maybe it's a drive for fulfillment that always seems just around the corner. Sometimes I think if only I could get it together and find my true calling, my real passion, or the right plan. God, help me, guide me. What am I missing? Blessed are we who strive earnestly to change ourselves and the world around us, but feel the drag and pull of what won't budge, the weight of all our limited and frail humanity. We carry it with us. Blessed are we, the hungry, in lives that are both too much and not enough, willing to tell the truth to ourselves and to each other, that we languish here, in what is perhaps the central paradox of our condition, that what we hunger for more than anything else is to be known in our full humanness, yet that is often just what we also fear more than anything else. To be fully known and fully loved in all our humanity, that is a God-sized project. Blessed are we, thankful that we can live our human-sized lives in the glad company of the vulnerable and the broken, the imperfect made whole in the love of God through Jesus Christ. Maybe it's okay to be hungry and stay that way. So friends, wherever these days ahead take you, and maybe you're spending a lot of time in a vehicle these days for whatever reason, remember that that's not just getting from one part of life to the next. That travel, that is part of life too. And sometimes there are very holy moments that unfold right in the middle of these versions of feet and donkeys and mules and horses that get us where we're going. And that sometimes the journey itself is where Jesus meets us most. So friends, go in peace. Remember, Jesus is with us everywhere we travel, even while we travel. Take care. We'll hope to see you Sunday, either at the church or online. And I'll see you here again next Friday. Take care, friends.